Hey, welcome to today's live webinar. Glad you're here today. My name is Ramon Ray, and we have an amazing discussion today. Whether you're listening to this live or hearing this on demand, we're glad you're here today. I'm going to give a few minutes for people to get settled, jump in and get ready. Maybe you're having your last sip of coffee or tea or water. Maybe you're finishing up a call, so you're rushing in here. So we're going to start in a few minutes, and I'm glad you're here today. The discussion we're going to have today, the training we're going to have today is so important. And just looking at the title itself, from lead generation to repeat customers, is really exciting. Starting from right to left, you think about that word, it says customers. We know that we have to have customers if we're going to have a business, not just a viable business. If we're going to have a business, period, we need customers. So today we're going to talk a lot about customers, but not just customers. We're going to touch on the power of having repeat customers, which is so important as well. And I think, look at the other two words, part of this sentence here, the title of this webinar, lead generation. Generation bills itself as a system, and lead generation. So we're going to touch on all these things today as we get ready to start. Glad you're here today from our friends at VeriSign, brought to you by VeriSign. And I'm so excited they've enabled me to do this webinar today. Jennifer, glad you're here today as we do this free training as we jump in. So buckle up, get your seats together, tell your kids hello, go tell your dog to sit down and watch some TV or something. Let's have a good time. And I think we'll start about right now. Again, everybody, welcome. My name is Ramon Ray. Glad to have you here today for today's webinar, sponsored by VeriSign, the registry operator, by the way, of .com. So the question I want to ask us today, the question I want to answer today is, how do we go from lead generation to repeat customers? Let's begin now. At the end of the day, it's important that we understand it is not enough to get a customer's attention just once. It's not enough. The one-time wonder's not enough. And in fact, let me let you in on something. It's not even enough to make the first sale. This is not enough. Many people think it is, but what matters is, how do we keep people coming back over and over again? In fact, how do we take somebody who's curious, or a curious lead, and turn that person into a loyal customer who trusts us, buys from us, and tells others about us? This is, in fact, where the real growth happens in our business. And I would dare say this is where we move from just surviving in business to thriving. And this is what we're going to discuss today. So I'm glad you're here today. Step on up, sit down, or stand, do whatever you like. We're in for a treat today. Before we begin, a little bit about me. I'm a motivational keynote speaker and event host. I travel around the world on the biggest and best stages in the world with many of the business icons. So you know they've been on stage with me before. I'm a leading expert on personal branding and small business growth. My book is called The Celebrity CEO. I'm a serial entrepreneur, honored to have started 5 businesses, sold 3 companies, and today I'm the publisher of zoneofgenius.com, which is a platform educating small business owners like you, like me, to give strategies and tips and insights on success to help you start your business, grow your business, and live your best life. So you're in the right place, because whether you're just starting out or you're looking to refine your current brand, today's session is going to be very informational for you to help grow your business and take it to the next level. Glad we're having people already join us. Alexandria, glad you're here. Jennifer, glad you're here. Thanks for joining me on this journey today to help people understand how they can go from lead generation to repeat customers. So let's dive in and get into the nitty-gritty. Every entrepreneur and small business owner needs to keep in mind this one thing. Well, several things we're going to talk about today, but this one little nugget. You cannot have repeat customers without first making the initial sale. Sales is absolutely important, but wait for it. And you can't get that sale without having leads. And that's why this title of this webinar is going from lead generation to repeat customers. Leads are the absolute lifeblood, the necessity of your business. Full disclosure, I don't have this honed in yet to perfection. This is something I struggle with, something I know I need to do myself. I struggle with this as well. I can do all the kind of things, but even lead generation is something I need to hone in on my own journey. And what I'm learning, what I've had to learn, in fact, what I've been doing just today and working on it before coming here to talk to you is learning here's the word, learning the discipline of lead generation and changing how I think about it. It's not always easy, but hopefully today we can unpack this for you and we can help you understand why the discipline, why the art and the science, as it were, of lead generation is so important. Oftentimes, I know business owners, we focus only on sales. We wake up every day and we're thinking, how do I sell more? But let me let you in on a secret. Let me let you in on a little problem. Sales they do not just happen by themselves. If you want to succeed in sales, what you need to do before that is have a steady pipeline of people that you can sell to. This is essential. Think about the analogy of a farmer. Now, most of you probably are not farmers, but maybe you know people who are farmers, and maybe you did some farming, or maybe we have a few farmers listening to us today. But think about it. A farmer doesn't just show up at harvest time and say, oh, great, I want my crops to be ready. No, 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 no. A farmer will spend months planting, watering, the sunlight comes in, tilling the ground and more, and taking care of those fields. And this is very similar to what lead generation is like. It's like planting. And the sale is what you earn in your harvest. Now, understand this. If you skip planting, there is nothing to collect later. So as you look around, you're saying, Ramon, my business is not where it's at. Ramon, am I getting the sales I should have? I wonder, do you have a lead generation problem? This is important to keep in mind as we move on. So what is a lead? Let's define that right now. Let's think about that today. Thank you all for joining today again. Great to have you here. It's very simple. It's somebody who has shown interest in what you offer. That's it. They're probably not going to be ready to buy today. They may, but they most likely they're not ready to buy today. But now they know about you. Now they know that you have a solution to the problem that they have. You have a solution to their need. Maybe they visited your website. They did a search on a search engine. Maybe they signed up for your email newsletter somehow. Maybe they stopped by your booth at an event. Maybe they saw your billboard. Who knows? Maybe they followed you on social media, one of the reels or videos that you were sharing. So leads are more than just names on a list. We're not talking about just a sheet of paper. That could be it, but it's so much more. It's really the beginning of a relationship. And this is what I don't want you to struggle with. I don't want you just to be that entrepreneur who chases transactions day in and day out and thinking, if I just close one more deal, I'll be fine, because that's not true. If you're not building, hear me out. If you're not building a steady flow of leads, you will always be starting from scratch. I promise you can take it to the bank. And this can be really tiring to wake up, as it were, to start the day and starting from ground zero. I want you to do an exercise with me. Close your eyes. Think about this. Think about some of the brands that you trust. You got those brands in your mind? They didn't just sell you something once and poof, disappear. No, they kept showing up over and over and over and over and over. In fact, they probably nurtured the relationship once you signed up, gave them your cell, gave them your email. Somehow they probably stayed top of mind. And all of that started how? Because you became a lead. So I want to give a challenge to you today. I want you to think about something, and I want to challenge you today. If you're up for a challenge and you're watching this, whether you're watching this live, watching this on demand, I want you to put challenge in the chat. If you're a type of person, this is Ramon, I'm up for a challenge. I want you to put challenge in the chat. Before you focus only on closing sales, I want you to do yourself a favor, not me. I want you to do yourself a favor and ask yourself this: what am I doing to generate leads every single day? In fact, ask yourself, do I have a system or routine? Because if you don't have a system or routine, it's not going to work consistently. Ask yourself this: am I planting enough seeds so that my business can grow not just today, but grow tomorrow, grow next month, next year? And why is this important? Because don't we want to create generational wealth? Don't you have somebody who's counting on you? The truth is this, everybody. Healthy businesses are not built on one-time customers alone. They're built on repeat customers. This is what builds a thriving, sustainable business. And repeat customers start with leads. Leads happen before the sale. Facts. We gave the example of the farmer. You got to plant and put in the work before you receive, before you earn the harvest. And this is the foundation for sustainable business. This is what it is. And I see people here are willing to be in the challenge. I love it. They want to be challenged. You guys are ready to grow your business and take it to the next level. I love it. Thank you for that. Next point is to understand that when we discuss a growing business, one of the most fundamental things that often are misunderstood is exactly what is a lead. So we want to dive into that more and unpack this a bit more to help you understand where we're going and where you can go. Now, if you ask different business owners about what a lead is, you'd probably get different answers. Some might say, you know what, it's anyone who lands on my website. That's a lead. Maybe. Others might say, well, it's somebody who hands over an email address. Maybe. And maybe a few would insist, no, 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 the lead is only someone who shows up ready to buy right now. Well, here's the bottom line about it all. A lead is simply a person who has shown some interest in what you offer, but hasn't purchased yet. Because once they purchase, now they become a customer. But they're just not a stranger anymore. They kind of get an idea. Oh, I have this problem, and it seems like maybe they have a solution. They're not a stranger. They're now aware of what you do. They've taken a step toward you in some way, shape, or fashion. You may not even know it yet. Maybe they downloaded your free guide. Maybe they followed you on Instagram. Maybe they visited your store and they asked you a question. Somehow they've become a lead. And I do want you to understand there are different types of leads. Understand that because you want to segment and treat your leads differently. You have cold leads. They've just discovered you. Don't know anything about you. You don't know them, but they're cold right off the digital or the offline infrastructure, as it were. Then you have warm leads. They're engaging and paying attention, and they're getting curious. These are warm leads. They're feeling the vibe. Then you have caliente. You have hot leads. Those are those who essentially they wave their hand and say, I'm ready. I'm ready. I want to buy right now. All they need you to do is present them with the right offer. So you may say, Ramon, why does this even matter? Why did you take the time to unpack this for us today? Because here's what I want you to understand. I want you to hone this in as we go through this messaging of going from lead generation to repeat customers, brought to you by VeriSign. You need to treat each type of lead different. Think about it. You're at a networking event. You wouldn't treat someone at a network event and immediately say, let's get married. You wouldn't do that. That'd be a bit awkward. But online business owners often skip building relationships. And often you go straight for the sale. So we want to slow our roll and focus on leads, building relationships. Maybe you start with an introduction. Maybe you meet a few times. You build trust. That's the name of the game, to build trust, improve your reliable. Then maybe you can ask for a bigger commitment, and that makes more sense. This is important to understand. I was at a conference once, and I can give example after example, and someone came up to me and said, Ramon, I've been reading your blog for a few months. I get your emails, and I now saw you here today, and I wanted to meet you in person, and guess what? That person became a future client. See how that worked? I didn't even know they were following me. I didn't know they saw me, but they saw something in me just from reading something that I wrote. They then got a little closer, maybe, and went to a webinar I did. Maybe they got my book and read the book. They got closer and closer. Finally, they said, I got to come to the event and see this. And then boom, they said, wow, Ramon, can we have you speak at our event? So this is why I want to impress on you. I don't just want your leads to be names on some amorphous list. I want you to understand these are people with real needs, the real challenges and real goals, and you have the opportunity to provide those needs, to solve their problem. Our job is simply to determine how can our business align with the solution that you have or align with their journey. I want you to understand one other thing that's very important. Not every lead will become a customer, and I want you to understand that. And that's okay. This is why I always say, since not every lead will become a customer, always offer to people something who are not yet ready to buy. And this is why a system is so important that helps people move along the path from stranger to lead to customer to repeat customer. This is important. So I want you to think about a few things. I want you to take your pen or pencil or put it in your phone or just think about it, listen to it. What does interest look like in your business? How do you know someone's interested in the product or service that you have? How are you capturing that interest to know, this is somebody who's interested? And what's the very first step you take, in fact, when somebody raises their hand? Do you follow up with them? Do you nurture their interest by providing value or personalized offers? Or do you just kind of let them sit and go cold and you ignore them? So this is why the system's important. Once you see somebody has interest in the solution that you can have for the problem they have, what are you doing with it? Yes, a lead is not a sale, but it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to build more trust. It's an opportunity to establish a relationship. And it's a small opening, yes, but you can grow that relationship, grow that trust, and grow that from lead to sale. And then we're going to get to repeat customers, of course. Now, whether that door opens wide or is closed really depends on how you handle it. Indeed is the relationship. Here's what I want you to keep in mind. Every repeat customer that you've ever had started out as a lead in some way, shape, or fashion. The moment you start treating leads like people, like humans, with respect, intentionality, this is where you're going to start. I take it to the bank. This is where you're going to start building not just sales, but really loyalty, because loyalty comes from relationships. Loyalty comes from trust. It's not just a sale. And this is the difference. I want you to understand this is the big difference between hustling for the next transaction, scrambling, and building a business that lasts. This is important. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope it's good. I hope you're getting knowledge. I hope you're learning from it. Glad you're here today. Let's move on. A few other key points as we go into today's discussion. The ideal customer. This is important. I don't want you to sleep on this. Understanding who your ideal customer is. Now, one of the biggest shifts that you can make as a business owner is getting crystal clear on the question, who is my ideal customer? To many of us, to many entrepreneurs, we're trying to be everything to everybody. I just want to make a sale, want to make a sale. But that's not the way to run a business. And you know what happens when you do that? When you try to sell to everybody, you end up not being so special. The strongest businesses are very specific about who they serve. You take popular coffee shops. Some coffee shops say our coffee is very, very expensive, and we're trying to sell it within a premium offer, premium package. Others may say it's quick and go, in and out, and it's lower costing. So you can take any product or service like that. That's about positioning. Going back to who your customers are. When I talk about ideal customers, I don't mean anyone who could buy from you. Don't get into that trap. Any customer is not anybody who can buy from you. Your ideal customer is what? It's the best fit for your product and or service. They're the ones who see the value, who will happily pay for your price that you set and tell others about you. And here's the key as we warm up to this, they keep coming back for more. This is important to understand. Let's take an example of a bakery owner who says, Ramon, we're baking bread. Anybody who wants bread should come in. No. As you hone in on that and dig a little deeper, you may find, it's people who want bread, yes. But we notice moms are coming in here. The moms are a bit older moms. All the moms have kids, and they're very health conscientious. And maybe, in fact, some of their kids have allergies. And these moms are willing to pay for the extra quality and convenience of the bread that we have. You see the difference? It's not just selling anything to anybody, any human. No, it's really honing in a bit deeper to find, no, really, who's your ideal customer. When I think of myself as a keynote speaker, I'm not just speaking to anybody. I could, but my ideal audience for my keynote speaking, those who have events. Often those events have happened to be in Orlando, Nashville, Las Vegas. Not all the time, but interestingly enough, often they have a few hundred people or thousands. They usually have 2 or 3 video cameras. They have a stage, you have lights. You get what I'm saying? It's a certain type of event that says, we want Ramon. So the question to ask yourself is, how do you figure out who your ideal customer is? Here's what I want you to think about. Who gets the most value from what you offer? Who loves your product? Who raves about it? Who keeps coming back and says, we want her, we want him? Who's willing and able? Some people are willing but not able. Some people are able but not willing. Who's willing and able to pay your price? And don't forget to focus also on those you enjoy working with. Oftentimes, we work with people we don't really like, and sometimes you have to do that. But the best relationship is to work with people that you like. Here's something I want you to consider: your ideal customer, it's your dream dinner guest. Imagine if you had to spend 2 hours at dinner with somebody. Would it be energizing or would it be exhausting? This tells you a lot. Maybe you have people who call you. You see them on the caller ID, see them on your cell phone, and you're like, oh, this is amazing. Or you're like, oh, I got to speak to them. That's kind of how you want to think of your ideal customer. And I want you to think about this through a term, and you probably know this term called customer avatar. Try describing who your ideal customer is and as a real person. What's their name? Maybe it's Jennifer. What's their age? Maybe they're 30. I don't know. What's their job? Maybe they're a digital marketer. What's their hobby? Maybe they like to ski or spend time with their mom and dad. What's their goals? What's their pain points? So instead of saying I serve women in their 30s, you might say my customer is Jessica. She's 35 years old, working mom with 2 kids who values convenience and products and wants to save time. Now, as you're marketing to Jessica, as you're marketing Jessica and Jessica's in your mind, everything gets much more clear. Your emails, your ads, your website, and even your elevator pitch. This is how you move things forward. Everyone needs motivation. Everyone needs my audience. It's easy for me to say everybody needs to hear from Ramon Ray, but that's not true. As I think to grow my business, as I've been on this journey of growing, yes, everyone may need it, but that's not the ideal customer. No, my ideal customer, for example, could be large business conferences where there's small business owners who are hungry and thinking of how to grow their business, take their business to the next level, scale ready businesses. See how defined I'm getting? Does that mean I can't serve or don't want to help everybody? No, but I'm talking about my ideal audience, my ideal customer. Here's also what I want you to think about. I want you to think about this. Don't ignore this one. Who is not your ideal customer? Woo! Now we're cooking. Who is not your ideal customer? Knowing who you don't serve frees you up. Frees you up by knowing this is not my ideal customer. You don't waste time anymore chasing people who will never buy from you. So I encourage you to write down your top 3 current customers, the ones who bring you the most revenue. Ask yourself, what do they have in common? What's so common about these customers that bring me the most revenue in, or that I enjoy working with, that have been my most loyal customers? What's common about them? Put that together, shake it up. That's most likely your ideal customer. And I want you to understand and remember, not all customers are created equal. Sorry, they're not. One person might spend $50 and never come back again. Another might spend $5,000 over a few years. Who do you want to be with? That $5,000 customer? That's your ideal customer. So here's what I want you to think about. Your ideal customer is who? It's the person who gets the most value from you. They're happy to pay what you're worth, who energizes you as well. You want to work with somebody you like to work with, and they come back again and again and again and again and again. Now, once you know who this person is, now you can tailor your approach, your website, your social media, your marketing, and even how you discuss your business to better suit them. This is important. And on this webinar today, on this discussion today, from lead generation to repeat customers, brought to you by VeriSign, what we want you to do is understand is to stop chasing random sales and turn it, instead of randomness, we want you to start attracting to you the right people who become loyal, repeat customers. I don't want you to be afraid to narrow your focus. You do not have to serve everyone. You should not try to serve everyone. Few businesses in the world can serve every single customer. The goal you should have, how do I serve the right customer? So that they say, "Ooh, this business was made for me." How was that? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Appreciate you being here, Jennifer. Appreciate you being here, Alexandria. Appreciate you being here, everybody who's here with us live. And I know many more are going to watch this on demand. Glad you're here today. So curious to ask yourself this: how in the world do you find customers? Or rather, how do your customers find you? This is important to understand. And the next question is the big question I want us to answer today is how are you going to get their attention? Hey, hey, hello, 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 hello. Didn't we wish it was that easy? But kind of is like that. How will you ensure that your ideal customer even knows that you exist? For most small business owners, it's important to understand the hardest part isn't the product or service that we have dialed in. We're the best consultant, we're the best baker, we're the best bread maker, best fitness coach. I'm the best motivational keynote speaker, sure. But the challenge is awareness connects you with the people who need it most. That's the challenge. And how do we do that? Your customers see messages all day long, and this is part of the challenge. We are in an attention deficit economy. You got ads, you got emails, you got reels, you got podcasts, you got so many things going on. Everyone's trying to get their attention. Everyone's trying to get your attention of your customer. They're trying to get your attention. I have your attention today, giving you this information today. So how do you stand out? How do you make sure your customers actually notice you and say, whoa, I noticed you and I know you have a solution for me. Three main things I want you to think about. There could be more, but I want you to hone in on these things. One, the power of digital awareness. Two, offline awareness. And three, relationship driven awareness. Now, what is digital awareness? Digital awareness encompasses all the ways you present yourself online. This is important. And your website is a critical foundation of this. I'm a firm believer every single small business owner, every single entrepreneur should have a website. End of story. And I encourage you to have a memorable .com or .net domain name. Having these says, I'm credible and I'm open for business. It builds the trust. It builds a relationship. This is what we're talking about all day long. Think about if you hear a business today, what's probably the first thing you're going to do? You're going to go to a search engine, go to Google, and you're going to Google them or go to Bing, somewhere you're going to go. If there's no professional looking website, yeah, maybe they're on social media, but you're going to wonder, are they really legit? Are they really serious? Now, from there, it's, of course, everything else you may do online. Social media, you have your ads, you have your content, you have your SEO, all these things. But you have to meet your audience where they already spend their time. This is what's important. It's not complicated to do, but you need to meet your audience where they're at. And part of that is having a great website and domain name. Now, second point is let's talk about offline awareness. This is important as well. It's not just digital, and I don't want you to sleep on it. I don't want you to underestimate this. The power of local events, the power of community involvement, the power of school sponsorships and flyers, all these in-person, real-life, tangible, tactile things are important. And they can be effective if your customers are local. So this is important to understand that even for myself, I'm digital. A lot of things I do, people see me online, but I do in-person events as well. I go local to the community. I fly around the world. Hope I can meet you one day at some of the events I'm at. So hit me up, email me, say, hey, Ramon, where can we meet you at? DM me in the chat, DM me on social, no problem at all. People see me, they speak with me, they connect with me on messages, especially when I visit them locally and I'm in person. It makes a difference. Then later they may visit my website. Then they sign up for the email newsletter. But it's that in-person spark that often leads to ongoing digital relationships and builds stronger trust. Now, the next thing is there's relationship-driven awareness. This includes referrals, word of mouth, and partnerships. In fact, some of your best leads will come from people who trust you enough to recommend you. Here's what I want you to do. Think about the last time a friend said to you, have you tried out this restaurant? You went there. This meant much more to you than any advertisement because your friend who you trusted recommended it. But referrals also, like leads, they do not, listen to me, people, they do not happen by accident. You got to give people something worth talking about. Sometimes, in fact, you need to encourage them with a loyalty program, maybe a referral link, or by delivering such an amazing, great experience. It was so good. They want to share with other people. That could be the food you're making. It could even be a webinar like this. I hope this webinar is so good, adds so much value that you want to share this out with other people, that you want to comment on, you want to take screenshots on it. You'll say, VeriSign, thanks for bringing Ramon Ray to help us understand the power of leads to repeat customers. Now, here's the practical part I don't want you to negate. I want you to think about your ideal customer. Where do they spend their time? Ooh, this gets good. Are they on LinkedIn? Are they hearing podcasts? Are they going to meetups? Are they reading some magazines maybe? This is where you want to hone in and put your awareness efforts, where your customers are at. You're already there. You know what they read. You know where they're at or investigate it. This is where you want to show up more. Now, you don't have to be everywhere, people. You don't have to be everywhere. All you need to be is in the main places where your customers are at, and you need to be consistent about it. So here's the challenge. If a stranger were to hear about your business today, if they were to hear about your business today, I'm curious, and I want you to answer this for yourself. How easy would it be for them to find you, to learn about you, and trust you enough to take the next step with you? If the answer is kind of sheepishly not very easy, then it's time to straighten up and tighten up your awareness strategy. But ultimately, here's the rub. Here's the thing I want you to keep in mind. Awareness is the first step in your customer journey. Before before you can nurture leads, before you can close a sale, before you can build repeat business, people have to know you exist. If they don't know you exist, game over. That's the truth. When you consistently show up, and this is the key, consistency. When you consistently show up for your customer in the right places where they're at, your pipeline stays full. Your pipeline is full because people aren't going to buy immediately. That's why you need a steady pipeline so your business can keep growing. Woo, this is good. I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're learning it. Up next, we want to touch on something really important, your lead generation toolkit. Seems like people are enjoying it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, those who are watching us live, glad you're here. And the many of you are going to watch us on demand, glad you're here today. Definitely appreciate you learning about how you can go from lead generation to repeat customer. So what's your lead generation toolkit? We've covered why leads matter. We've talked about what a lead actually is, and we've talked about how awareness starts the journey of this. But let's dig into the fun part, I guess you can call it, your lead generation toolkit. And what I want to do is this. I want to walk you through 5 key essential things that every business should consider. One is your website and domain name. Absolutely crystal critical to the growth of your business. Your website should work around the clock for you. It should be a sales machine. If you have a memorable .com domain name, it can instantly make you look more credible for sure. Your site should do probably 2 main things. One, grab the attention with clear messages of the people who are coming to your website. Have interesting content and a strong call to action. It should be collecting leads through forms and signups or tools that get people to book information with you. For example, let's say you have a small accounting firm, anywhere USA, anywhere in the world, has a good website, but there's no way really to capture leads. That's a missed opportunities. Visitors are going to read it, scroll it, and then leave because there's no way for them to give more information about themselves. Remember, they don't fully trust you yet, so they may not want to make a call. But you can add a simple lead magnet to the website. Something pops up or a little email sign up form. 10 mistakes small businesses make. Woo, okay. I may not want to have you as my accountant today, but I want to know what those mistakes are. That's how you build a thriving business. The website acts like a digital brochure and starts working like a tool. So it's a digital brochure. It's not just that. You don't just want it to be a brochure. You want it to work like a working brochure or a powerful tool. Second, next up, email marketing is so important. Now, I'm a firm believer. I've been emailing for 20 years or so. Email remains one of the most effective ways to nurture leads. Yes, issues. Yes, and go to spam boxes, but it's still very reliable as it directly reaches someone's inbox. Don't just collect email addresses, though, for the sake of collecting email addresses. I encourage you, I beg you, I want you to offer real value. Share helpful tips and practical advice. Share real stories. Make your email something that people really want to look forward to. And here's where I encourage you, take it to the next level. Treat email as a conversation that keeps your lead before they're the customer, that keeps them engaged until they're ready to make a purchase. And even after they've made the purchase, keep them engaged. Next point is content marketing, which is so important. What does content marketing do? It helps people discover you. It helps people trust you. It helps people remember you. You want people to remember you, not to forget who you are. Now, when you're thinking about content marketing, Choose the format that your audience wants best. Do they want blog? Do they want video? Do they want podcast? Do they want infographics? Maybe it's a webinar like this we're giving here across platforms. And I want you to focus on solving real problems. Aren't we doing that today? We're solving real problems, helping you understand how to leverage the power of leads to get repeat customers. Maybe you're a fitness coach and you could share a quick workout routines for busy parents that they could do in the car, driving their kids somewhere, not driving their kids somewhere, but you know what I mean? They could do on the run. Or maybe you're a lawyer and you can explain how to protect your business legally. These are things you can do with your content marketing to provide value, value, value. Now, social media. Your audience is already spending time on social media for sure. And ads can help you reach the right people more quickly. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to focus using social media to start conversations. Conversations build trust. Don't just promote yourself. Buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. No, 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 no. This should be conversations with people. Ask questions, reply to comments, share stories that encourage people to get involved, to engage with you. This is what we're talking about. Remember, your regular post, they're kind of like firewood, and your ads are the spark that helps more people see them. I hope you're getting, are you picking up what I'm putting down? If you're enjoying this and you're picking up what I'm putting down, I want you to type up in the chat. Type up in the chat if you're picking up what I'm putting down, and this is useful for you. Type up in the chat. All right. Next type of in your toolkit here is networking and partnerships. Some of the best leads will still come from real people, not just online clicks. Local events, trade shows, business groups, and good partnerships. All of these things are important and can bring in steady leads. For example, let's say you're a photographer and you team up with a wedding planner to get referrals from every couple they book. One strong relationship, it can be more valuable than hundreds of online clicks. So don't ignore the power of a true in-person or online relationship to get to know, especially the right fit customer, better. And this is where many of us do struggle. We try to do everything at once. And then what do? We get overwhelmed. We give up. Instead, take it easy, calm down, pick 2 or 3 tools that fit your business and that fit your audience. Get really good at these tools. Get really good at leveraging them and using them, and then keep track of what works. You have to measure so you know what works or what doesn't work. See which emails get a better response, which posts get people talking, and which events or partnerships bring in good leads. Remember, a tool only matters if that tool gets results. So here's the next steps. Here's what I want you to think about. Build a strong website with a credible domain. Use email to nurture real relationships. Then I want you to share the education, share the content that attracts the right people to you. And as you're probably doing, but we can do better, show up on social media and then use advertising. Yes, paid advertising. Invest in your business when it makes sense. But I also encourage you to continue to build human connections through networking and partnerships. You put all this together and you move from guessing, you don't want just to guess, to a system. And I love this word, system, that generates leads while you sleep. Here's another challenge for you. Here's a challenge. Take a look at your toolkit right now, the toolkit you currently have, and think what's missing? What could be added to? What could you do better? What could be improved? Choose one tool and focus on being really, really good at that. And as you get good at that for the next 30 days, go to the next one. And do me a favor, DM me and let me know, Ramon, I'm trying what you said on your webinar with VeriSign, and here's where I'm at, here's where I'm going, and here's what I've done. Let me know. I'd love to hear about it. All right. So next up is from first sale to repeat customer. We got some ups in the room. We got some ups. Love it. You're picking up what I'm putting down. Love it, love it, love it. All right, moving forward here. Few more slides to go. So what have we done today? We've discussed leads and awareness, and we've developed a toolkit for generating interest. This is important to generate interest of the people who you want to reach. Now, we want to move to the next step, which is making the first sale. I want you to understand, calm down. I want you to understand the first sale is not the finish line. It's the starting line, but you got to start somewhere. Too many entrepreneurs, unfortunately, what do? We focus solely on closing the deal. Ooh, I got a deal. And once that money hits our account, we're done. The mentality, we move on. But I want you to stay hungry. And I want you to keep generating leads. If your goal is repeat customers, if that's the goal, that's why you're here today, to get repeat customers, you can't stop there. The first sale is just the yes. But what happens after? That determines whether the relationship continues. So it's not just the first sale, although that's important. We want you to have a mindset that keeps nurturing, nurturing, nurturing. And I want you to think of this in two parts: making the first sale smooth and memorable, then setting things up so you get the second and third sale. I mean, imagine going to the hotel room, going somewhere, and you had a great experience. I can remember the best experiences I've had in life. I'll never forget. I want to go back. When someone buys from you the first time, and this is why this is important, I want you to understand this. Break this down with me. Somebody buys from you the first time, they're taking a risk. They don't fully know you yet. They're trusting that you'll deliver. They're hoping you deliver. That's why the first experience must feel seamless, simple, and satisfying. Now, if you're online, ask yourself, is your checkout process clear? Or do people abandon halfway through because something just kind of looks not so right about it? Sometimes I say it looks a bit janky. Now, if you're a service provider, ask yourself, is your onboarding organized so clients know exactly what's going to happen and exactly what to expect? If you run a store or a restaurant, what's the atmosphere when somebody walks in? Do they feel welcome right away or do they not? These are things we can do to get better. First impressions should make people think, wow, this was easier or better than I expected. First impressions are so important. And I would never want you to forget about this, the power of first impressions. I remember I was on a plane once and I got a handwritten note from the airline saying, Ramon, thank you for being our customer for 30 years. Ooh, that was an amazing. It wasn't a first impression per se, but it was an impression. So let's talk about setting up for repeat sales. And this, ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully. This is simply a mindset shift. I want you to understand this. You're not just selling a product, you're building a relationship. My business is no different than your business. The key principles: I have clients, I have customers, I need repeat business. People to engage Ramon as a keynote speaker, engage me to host their events, engage me to represent their brand in some way, engage me to help their small business grow. This is important to understand. So this means what? Follow up quickly. This is important, the power of follow up, so the connection doesn't fade in the relationship you're building. What about sending a thank you note, making a quick call, or adding a small surprise? Even just your emails to say thank you. Your emails can convey positivity. Your emails can convey warmth. Gratitude matters. To go beyond what people expect. Deliver earlier than promised, adding an extra bonus. All these things impact the customer experience. Little things create loyalty. It doesn't take a lot to let somebody feel appreciated. Ask for feedback. Ask your customer, how did we do? This I want you to take to the bank. I want you to understand this. Customers who feel heard are more likely to return. And don't wait too long to show them what's next. Make sure you build that into your system, build that into your processes. If somebody buys shoes from you, tell them about the socks that go with them. Upsell, make more profit, make more money, and make your customer happy because they have something they probably didn't know that they even wanted. If they hire you for a consultation, share your ongoing package with them. The first sale you do should naturally lead into the next conversation. So here's what's really happening. I want you to understand this. People aren't buying products. They're buying feelings. It's not what you say, how you act. It's really how you made people feel. Trust, joy, convenience, status, safety. When people feel good about buying from you once, they want that feeling again. They need the solution you're selling, but they want that solution wrapped within how you make them feel. That's why we go back to our favorite barber. That's why we go back to our favorite coffee shop. That's why we have a preferred brand of sneakers. It's not always the cheapest thing, but it's the one that we want that delivered the best experience. This is what I never want you to forget. I want you to always keep this in mind. So let's bring this together. Let's hone this all in. One, the first sale is very important, but it's only the start of the journey. My encouragement to you today, I want you to make the experience as seamless and as memorable as you can and follow up right away. Speed is so important online. Now that you've captured them, they're the customer, they're the lead, I want you to maintain the relationship. So the second sale, so the third sale, so more sales come. And here's another thing I encourage you. Focus less on the product alone and more on how the customer feels when they walk away. I encourage you, I promise you, not like legally and all that kind of stuff, but promise you, friend to friend, if you do this right, you're not going to just make sales. You'll build a business that generates repeat customers. And repeat customers, as you know, if I've said, they are the foundation of sustainable growth. This is why I want you to hone in on this. So the next time you close a deal, I don't just want you to celebrate. I want you to ask yourself, what am I doing to make sure this person comes back again and again and again? All right, so we're going to move to the next point here, and this is the repeat customer recipe. I'm not really a chef, but I got a recipe for you today. Repeat customer recipe. Let's go. Who's ready to eat? All right, put eat in the chat if you're ready to eat in this recipe that I'm going to cook for you right now. So we've already talked about leads, ideal customers, awareness, your toolkit, and making the first sale. We've already touched on this. Now I want to focus on this. What really drives long-term business growth is this. Here it is, people. Getting customers to come back again and again. It's like baking a cake. You don't just throw random ingredients together and hope it turns out. No, it's a plan, it's a process. You follow a recipe. And here's the recipe for generating consistent customers. Trust. Everything starts with trust. If people don't trust you, they won't buy again. And trust isn't built on one moment, it's built over time. Trust, in fact, comes from doing what you say you're going to do. If you promise delivery in 3 days, well, you better deliver it in 3 days. You think about Amazon? They're the GOAT of building trust. It wasn't just because they had a selection. It's because people trusted them. They could click and get their money back and return it, no hassle. Number 2 is the power of consistency. You don't do a great job once in a while and then let things slide the rest of the time. Repeat customers come. Why? Why do repeat customers come? From being consistent and building trust. Every interaction, maybe it's an email, it's a social media post, an in-store visit, it should feel reliable and on brand. And here's what I want you to do. Think about your favorite restaurant. Why do you keep going back to it? Why? Because you know the food will taste the same. It's consistent over and over and over again. Consistency is so important. Number 3 is the power of relationship nurturing. This is where many businesses kind of fall short, gets a bit shaky. They think once the sale is made, their job is done. Not. Repeat customers oftentimes come from relationships that are nurtured. This means the power of following up again and again, sending a thank you note, offering tips on maybe how to get the most out of your product or service. This is so important. Newsletters and birthday notes and loyalty rewards. These things make customers feel more than just a transaction. This is what I want you to keep in mind. This is what I want you to hone in on. Number 4, the power of personalization. I don't want to feel like a number. I don't want to feel like a faceless, nameless transaction. I want to feel seen by you. And there's technology that can make that powerfully possible. Personalization can be so simple. Using someone's name in an email, remembering their preferences, or tailoring recommendations to their past purchases. I love when I log into a clothing store and they say, hey, Ramon, you bought this a year ago, bought this 6 months ago, bought this shirt last week. Would you like it? Buy it again. Spotify does this. Netflix do this, don't they? They know what you like and they feed that information to you. We small businesses can do this too. Adding a personal note, not just a blank, email, but something personal. Number 5, added value. Repeat customers stick around because they feel like they're getting more than just a product. This is so important. I don't want you to ignore this. You're getting value. Now, this could be great service. It could be useful content. It could be perks. It could be simply an experience that feels extra special. But the experience and added value you provide to each and every customer is so important. Number 6 is the power of community. Now, community is important, and this is something that many people may miss. It's harder to do, harder to build, but community is important. When people feel they belong, when they feel they belong to a community, it's not just buyers. They're much more likely to stay loyal. Maybe it's a Facebook group, maybe it's a school group, maybe it's any kind of group you want to, or community you want to do on any platform. Maybe it's bringing people together in community in person, but let them feel it's more than just a number. So let's recap this and see what these are. 1, build trust. deliver consistently, nurture relationships, personalize the experience, add value, create community. When you got all these ingredients, you put them all together, you shake them up, you put them into the oven of digital marketing or any kind of marketing, you get repeat customers who not only come back, but here's where it gets even more interesting. They also tell their friends, they leave reviews, and they help spread the word about your business. Here's what I want you to understand: repeat customers do not happen by accident. They happen because you have a recipe of success to serve your customers so they feel good, they feel appreciated. If you want your business to last, repeat customers is not just something that's nice to have, it is an absolute must. I hope you're enjoying this. I'm hungry too, Jennifer. Listen, everybody, this has been amazing, amazing, amazing. As I've said before, I'm Ramon Ray, founder of zoneofgenius.com. I encourage you right now, go to zoneofgenius.com, sign up for our email newsletter and more. All the things I'm sharing with you, I'm doing my best to implement in my business. Or you can go to ramonray.com if you want information and insights, want to know more about who I am, go there. And please, I encourage you, visit our sponsor, VeriSign's website at yourdot.com. Yourdot.com. Check it out to learn more about the importance of your online presence and how to make the most out of it with a .com domain name. And you can also find a great name available as well for .com or .net. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. I appreciate you being here. If you want to follow up with me, you have questions, you have things I didn't answer, just email me. That's probably the best way. Ramon@zoneofgenius.com, Ramon@zoneofgenius.com. But more importantly, I encourage you, check out VeriSign's resources at yourdot.com, yourdot.com. Once again, my name is Ramon Ray, and I hope you've enjoyed today's session. I've enjoyed giving it to you. I'm going to sign off, but I hope to see you online on the internet somewhere. And we'll do that again. From lead generation to repeat customers, brought to you by VeriSign.